Good afternoon, colleagues, and welcome to the January meeting of the Environment Regeneration Committee, the first of 2025. If you've no doubt realised I'm not your usual convener. Councillor McCormick is joining us from home today. He's not feeling too well at the minute, so we send our best wishes for a speedy recovery for him. I will now read our usual opening statement. This meeting is being held remotely and also in person and will be filmed and recorded for live and subsequent broadcasts available through the Council's website. The Council is a data controller under the General Data Protection Regulations and the Data Protection Act 2018. We broadcast and record Council meetings to fulfil our public task obligations to enable members of the public to observe the democratic process. Data collected during the process will be retained in accordance with the Council's published policies available through the Council's website. Members of the Council are reminded that they should follow the Council's established meeting protocols, including around the use of the chat facility, and the comments made in the chat facility are visible to all participants in the meeting, which may include members of the public who have also received invites to the meeting. So with that, can we move on to agenda item 1, apologies, substitutions and declarations of interest.
Convener, there are no apologies or substitutions, so we'll move to a roll call. Can the following councillors please indicate if they're present at the meeting? Councillor Brooks.
In chamber.
Councillor Cassidy.
Present chamber.
Councillor Clockerty.
In chamber.
Councillor Crowder.
Present in chamber.
Councillor Curley.
Present in chamber.
Councillor Jackson.
In the chamber.
Councillor McCormick.
Present remotely.
Roberts McKenzie.
In the chamber.
No. Councillor Nelson. Councillor Quinn.
Present in the chamber.
Councillor Robertson.
Present in the chamber.
Are there any declarations of interest?
No. Okay, great. Thanks, Paul. Moving on to agenda item 2, the 2024-25 Environment Regeneration Budget update. Matt?
This is the regular the monthly report. You see from section 1.3, we're currently reporting on spending £197,000, so that's a slight improvement to £1,000 from last period. We're also flagging that within there has been a big blood pressure as there is in this year to do with the disposal of waste of domestic seating and others to try things. And that's contributing quite a bit to the low spending there. And the consideration given through Stuart to really put that forward some pressure in the budget, and I suspect that's what we will do going forward because we can't contain that within the committee. In addition, 1.4, there's been a review of how we use agency employees, and again, within the director, we're going to investigate that, but there's a bit of ongoing pressure in there. The board executives contribute to make up to the bulk of that overspending. The rest of the details are shown really one bit, it's point 1. And the appendices, I'll include this in detail on that if there are any questions. And after that, I'll just ask the ED20 to note the position, note that we're not anything to try and improve on the position as a moment. Also note the position with regard to the effect of the forward that they're likely to come through the budget process. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Matt. It's good to see the decrease in the decrease in the overspend half been it's positive. Any questions? Chris?
Thank you, Convener. Just with respect to 3.1c, the shortfall in parking income on page 3, talks about due to delay in progressing the TRO for the business parking permits. And I was just wondering if we get an update about where we actually are with that, because obviously it was a decision made not only to provide income but also provide the flexibility and a way of businesses parking within the town centre at a reduced cost. So I was wondering if you could provide some information about that.
Okay, that's it, sure.
And we can we hope to progress the TRO soon, Councillor Curley. There has been some discussion between the service and our colleagues in legal regarding the terms of the permits, and if we require, we'll bring a report back to the committee. But we anticipate that in terms of the prioritisation for TROs, this will be the next one.
Okay, thank you.
Chris?
So just if you don't necessarily need to bring back a report for us to progress this TRO.
Really, if we The officers have made recommendations in terms of a number of clarifications in respect to the original scheme. If that goes beyond the remit that's felt that the committee is granted, then we will bring that report back. If we can define it from the original terms of the scheme, then it will be to progress.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No. Okay, can you review the recommendations in the report? Please. Thank you. Then we're going to agenda item 3, Environment Regeneration Capital Programme 24-28 progress.
The capital report was reviewing multiple projects at various stages. Again, looking through them all, but we just had a couple and anything relevant to the recommendations. We're going to town hall roof projects complete in December. We'll start with the site plans complete before the following period. Linked to the recommendations at 0.26, the committee is requested to approve funding from the available balance for net zero capital allocation to address the funding shortfall in the community health project, and that's been a subject of reports to Education Committee and the Policy and Resources Committee. That project's also likely to achieve practical completion by the end of this month. In terms of the overall expenditure and projections against the 2024-25 approved budget, we're reporting a investment of 1.162 million as outlined in the report. I'd ask that the committee approve the recommendations, and myself and other officers have to answer any questions on the various projects.
Okay, thanks, Larry. I've just got 2 questions myself. Just like to see if there's any updates on Dunrock Road, and also if we have a start date for the Timberhead Junction City project.
Yes, and Dunrock Road, officers are continuing to progress the detail of the kind of site and ground investigations required, which are quite extensive given the topography. And at the moment they're doing their best to try and get that done ahead of the nesting season starting in March. So that will allow them to do that in the detailed design and get a feel for where, what the project's scope will be. I'll to put a cost against it and see where we are in terms of the available budget. So that's where we are at the moment. Investing ground and site investigation works. In terms of Inverkip, we're still liaising our legal colleagues that we have to find in terms and conditions of the contract exceptions. We expect that to happen imminently, and when we have that in place, then that will inform the site start. But it's likely to be March, but again, subject to us finally signing the contract.
Okay, that's the idea. It would be hopefully good if we do get that started in March, so it's a much more weighted project. Okay, any questions? Chris?
I think Lynn first.
Lynn?
Yeah, thanks. Just a couple of quick questions. Under 3.13, the former St. site. So I think it was mentioned before we were looking at spring to try and get something in there, and that was all going through. So I just wanted to sort of reassure us that that's still on the target for spring coming up. And under 3.25, our driving lesson place, it said the consultation is progressing in January, but just we're halfway through January. I just wanted to give you assurance on, are we still January? Thank you.
They've been adding to the current drive one, have confirmation that the consultation will commence on the 20th this month, so that's still on track. I don't know, Neil, if you've got an update on St. Nines.
Yeah, thanks. So you can read out. Yeah, the progress is still to complete within the financial year for St. Ninians.
Okay, Lynn?
Did you say complete or?
Yeah, to complete the spend within the financial year. Yeah.
So it'll be finished by the end of April. That just seems that I'd be delighted if it was going to be finished for April, but I was just expecting a start by April.
No, that's yeah. Sorry, the project is to be underway by the end of the financial year, and the spend is to be undertaken in the financial year. There's some work's going on in terms of the project team to maximise the spend that's available in the designs to implement that in terms of the topsoils to be put on the site.
Lynn, after that.
Okay, so it will start. It's just the spend will be, and I think, allocated before the end of the year. The potential of the works might go on. I'm just trying to be realistic here rather than like seeing April seems a bit tight for the project.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Chris?
Yeah, I just touched upon Dunrock Road again. It's good that things are progressing. Understand that the urgency of getting the site investigation done before the nesting season. But is it possible at the next report to actually provide an outlined programme of the works? Because it'd be good to actually see when we're actually anticipating the design works getting done, construction starting, and most importantly, construction finishing.
I think it might be difficult to provide a programme at that stage, depending on how far we progress through the kind of more detailed design. And bear in mind that obviously we still have funding pressure, the removal and the part of the funding that is going to be made available for that. So I can't promise that we'll have some of that detail for the next committee, but we're certainly working towards it.
Yeah,
Sure. Through you, Convener. Clearly, what we're engaged in at the moment is effectively a redesign process for Dunmore Road. So what we're continuing to look at the options for Dunmore Road. There's the original alignment and there's the shortened version that we're looking at. But we'll certainly provide members with as much detail as we possibly can for the next time.
yeah, thank you, because it's obviously as Paul mentioned, it's a very important project. It's I suppose you always say that Clyde Mutual Park is the lungs of Inverclyde. Well, the wee tubes that get you to the lungs are a bit blocked at the moment, so it'll be good to get them so we can breathe easily in Inverclyde. If that's stretching a metaphor too far.
Yeah.
I'll try my best. I never got my higher English, so So the other one was just on. I noticed the Parkley development is in development now, and it'd be good to try and see some ideas about how that will actually look, and whether or not there's an opportunity to engage with the ward members with respect to that link.
It's
project.
Yeah, thanks, through you, Convener. Yes, so the work in that has started, and there's quotes being obtained at the moment for the works. But I'll pass back to the team that around the ability and engagement with in a wider sense, so that they can influence the proposals going forward.
Thank you.
Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I've got a couple of things in relation to Craig End Resource Centre that's been kind of brought up before. One of them is the play surface on the play park itself. I know that the contractor was going to do a kind of power wash to see if it would stop the kind of black substance kind of coming off the play park, and it's kind of ruined the kids' shoes that are playing on it. It's been ongoing for a wee while, so that's the first one. The second thing is the bridge, the bridge that takes you over the Lady Burn, which takes you to the entrance of Craig End. The bridge itself is in a bit of a state of kind of disrepair, and a non-slip surface is required on that bridge. Both things have been raised in the past, and I'm just trying to make sure that that these things kind of haven't been forgotten about, and they we're still looking at it with a view to maybe getting them done before the weather starts getting better and the centre starts getting busy. So I'm just looking for some kind of assurance that they were on top of these things.
Eddie.
I can certainly take the bridge one, but I think Neil might need to comment on the play park one, which is on his side. Certainly officers in property maintenance have looked at the bridge, and we've got options or costs associated with bringing it back into a good condition. So it is on our radar. We are mindful it needs to be progressed. Again, the weather obviously isn't the obvious in terms of that, but it is something that we are going to rectify, and we're trying to do that as soon as we can.
Neil, do you want to answer the play park?
Yeah, thanks, through your Convener. Yeah, happy to take that on board and feed that back to the team and look at getting that addressed.
That'd be great. Okay, thanks very much, guys. That's fine. Thanks a lot.
Okay, John.
Thank you, Convener. The first one's really just an observation, and it's at 3.29, and actually been up waterfront seawall priority works. I noticed that it mentions there that the report is outlined in 3.17 above, but when you look at 3.17, the Watt Institute DDA. Now, I understand that if you went to the Marine Scotland website, obviously the work such as this, you would have to go through Marine Scotland, but if you look at the website there, you will find the details of the application. That's the first one. And the second one is to do is 3.38, which is flooding. And while I welcome the work that's been done at Auchmountain Glen, the most flooded road in Inverclyde, quite clearly, is Westmoreland Road in Larkfield. Now, I understand that site investigation work there has been completed. The ownership of the issue has been agreed. Could I ask for a full update as to when work will commence on that road?
Eddie?
Yeah, through your convener. Yeah, apologies, that's obviously just an error in terms of referencing in the seawall. Probably refers back to the previous report, so apologies for that. And yeah, you're right, that work does need a marine licence, and we do have one for it. It's mostly complete. I think we've still got the ladders still with the timbers have been replaced at the berthing point where the wayline comes in. Part of the work's complete, but not finished yet. The other item, yeah, officers have been engaging with Scottish Water over a protracted period on Westmoreland Road, and we do have agreement in principle as to the way forward. It is now sitting with our service to draw that up, detail it, and get that over for final Scottish Water approval. It's a priority for us, but obviously we've got resources and some vacant posts at the moment, so we are trying to shuffle them with priorities, but it remains a priority to get that fully agreed with Scottish Water and then get it in the programme to be rectified.
Okay, that's been lovely, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Sure.
So you can just add to what Mr McComas stated, Councillor, and we're hoping that the works commence in the next financial year, so it'll be after April.
You say the next financial year? Yeah, so that's obviously after April.
Yes.
Yeah, that's lovely, thank you.
Okay, that's great. Any other questions?
Cool.
Paul?
Yeah, it's just to ask Stuart this one, Glen Park, the dangerous buildings notice, the two appeals. It's just to see if you could give me an idea, Stuart, what the basis of these appeals are. I'm aware you might not be able to do that in a public forum.
Do you convener rather than answer that question in private?
Okay.
Oh, come back to that item thing, the meeting if that's for you.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Okay, that's great. Any other questions? No, so can we give the recommendations on the report?
Yeah.
Great, thanks. Moving on to the next agenda item. And then number 4, energy climate change, which is Peak Network Study and the Scottish Climate Intelligence Service. Public Office Climate Change Report.
Thanks, Camilla. The report provides an update on various work streams linked to energy and climate change and net zero. There are 3 main areas. So the first area is an update on the programme strategic heat network study, which links to the delivery plan for the Council's current local heating and energy efficiency strategy. The report outlines the funding support being provided through the Scottish Government and various partner agencies involved with the 3.3. We're currently engaged with the technical consultants, ACOM, to identify the priority zones, which will be involved in a more detailed assessment. Second item is to provide a brief update on the established Scottish Climate Intelligence Service, and outlines how the office are currently engaging with the local lead for that, who's recently taken up post, and we'll continue to engage to understand how we can use the resources and support that they provide to assist in the development and the progression of the Council's own net zero strategy and action plans. The last item provides an update on the annual climate change mandatory reporting for the Scottish Government. The summary of the Council's return information included within the appendices. The body of the report also provides more detail on some of the factors influencing the various increases and decreases across the areas of Council activity. The last report to committee in January 2024 on the previous return advised that the emissions would increase linked to the addition of emissions from Inverclyde leisure operated assets, and the fact that the gas and electricity costs for those are now paid through the Council, and that's obviously been reflected in the return that we're making, or we had made in November. The additional graphs provided in the appendix show the position as submitted, but also what it would be if Inverclyde properties were excluded, and also what would be where once we baseline and then to include from the original baseline dates. There's 3 different versions of the graph trying to explain different scenarios and why that's come about. That's the committee approval recommendations.
Okay, thanks, Eddie. Chris?
Yeah, just to confirm, I think during your explanation of the report there, Eddie, you mentioned the ACOM. Is that correct? Just to note that as per my members' interest, I'm employed by the ACOM. I have not had any part in this report, and I'm applying objective test. I think I can continue to be in the room.
Okay, that's that. Any other questions?
Yes, sorry. Yes.
And with that in
And
mind,
with that in mind, but thanks for the report, Eddie. Just on the graphs at the back, obviously it's looking at them. It's clear we're actually reaching a plateau. I think the expression, discussion with Mr. Jameson was that we've reached what they call it, the relatively low hanging fruit, and it's going to be maybe an order of magnitude to get further improvements. And obviously that's our drive towards net zero. But it's interesting just to note that that actually is borne out within the graphs. I'm conscious of the fact that it's been reported that earlier papers this committee during the year that we're planning to have a reinvestment on the waterfront, which would hopefully improve the energy efficiency of the waterfront centre by allowing a heat transfer between the ice rink and the pool. Would that have? How do you think would that impact on going forward with that? Just that one, because it's it's part of the things we're going to look at doing for energy efficiencies. To be interested to see how much of an impact you think that might make.
Yeah, so I mean, it should have a reasonable impact as a short answer. But looking at like kind of consultants' kind of payback calculations, I think that the last report said we're looking to save up to a third on the utilities, and that's obviously a caveat to make sure that it's being operated properly. People know what they're doing with the new technology, but that itself could make a reasonable difference. So one of the reasons for the going up is not just because of leisure, but we brought on Ocean Terminal as well. So even if you bring in another building, it does have an impact. And that one has got 3 different partners in it, and it's got a restaurant, and probably got a lot of utility use as well. So that has made a difference in this return as well. So yes, we would certainly hope that project would make a good difference to certainly be able to play leisure utility consumption.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. Any other questions? No. Okay, can we do the recommendation from the report?
Agreed.
Thank you. Moving on to the item number 5, winter maintenance service, and that's you again.
Thanks, probably an overview of the arrangements in place for the delivery of the maintenance service and the reasons for the current budget pressure in this area. Bit of detail in the report, covering the policy, legislative drivers, and procedures and resources required to deliver the current service. And a lot of that information is also available on the Council's website, including the policy, detailed movement routes and prioritisation. The sections from 3.16 on provide a historical position of the budget and how that has been impacted over a period of more than a decade, linked to a combination of savings exercises, adoption of new assets, and the impact of labour and material cost inflation. The service has taken action to address the pressure as far as possible, including addressing the use of external emergency resource. However, there remains a budget pressure, and that will require to consider as part of the 2026-27 budget setting process. That's the kind of the report.
Okay, thanks. Any questions? John?
Thank you, Convener. It's under 3.6, the prioritisation footways. During the freeze that we had there, I noticed at the top of Chester Road in Larkfield, adjacent to St Andrew's School, that there was water coming out from the drains there. That had been flagged up with Scottish Water, who in turn said that they would contact Inverclyde Council in respect of that. It's just, again, it's to do with the ownership of the issue. And if that has not been repaired, could I ask that that area be given prioritisation, because it's adjacent to the school. It is extremely dangerous as the water was flowing down Chester Road, and also because there is adjacent to Chester Road we have Westmoreland Road, and as we know that area was prone to flooding even after a small rainfall. Should that freeze over yet again, that water has been cars trying to get through that, is spreading that water. could again the council look closely at that, just to ensure that that road is gritted and that it doesn't really spread much further.
Eddie?
Through the community, I need time, obviously, Neil and his team in terms of the footpath cutting. Seems like a reasonable request, given the issues, localised issues in Scottish Water. Again, I wasn't aware of that. I need to check with the officers whether or not they engage with Scottish Water. In terms of the general carriageway one you mentioned, I mean, the getting bits are there, the drivers driving the prioritised routes and they drive it in an order. So that will be covered as a matter of course, and I'm not aware of any specific complaints on that area, that there was a particular issue, or if it wasn't being addressed, but I can certainly check with the team.
Okay, Ashby, thank you.
Thanks, Eddie. Michael?
Thanks, Paul. No, it's not a question. It's just really a kind of a comment, a kind of compliment to the guys at this time of year. I know we're working with quite a small group of guys that are out there doing their best to keep the kind of the roads network operational, especially around schools, hospitals, etc. But I'm quite sure I'm not alone in thinking back to some issues that we've had over the last couple of years when folk were due kind of cancer treatments and they were due hospital appointments, etc. And I have to say, any time I contacted the guys and explained how serious the situation was, they were always able to help. So just a wee kind of pat on the back to the guys if that can be passed on to them. We really appreciate what they do at this time of year. I know we've missed the bulk. I should touch wood when I'm saying this, but I know we missed the bulk of the snow so far. But it's reassuring to know that we've got the team in place, that whenever we do need them and we do call on them, that they're always there for us. So just a wee kind of pat on the back for them.
I'm sure the whole committee will agree with those comments. So we'll pass them on to your team. That's great. Chris?
Yeah, just a minor thing at the end of 3.16, page 40, just below the graph. There's a statement: the budget was topped up in 2021 via further allocation of 30k from, and there's a wee asterisk there.
I think it was reserved when they put in there, nice, so apologies, yeah.
Okay. That's it.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
okay. Any other questions? Nope. Okay, can we continue with the recommendations of the report?
Agreed.
Thank you. And we're going to go ahead and set Amberclyde strategic transport model and idea.
Thanks again. I'm quite aware of the outstanding action to bring a report back on a traffic study of Inverclyde. The report outlines the work undertaken through external consultants to build a strategic traffic model for Inverclyde. The report outlines the process and the parameters of the study and it highlights the pressure areas based on traffic growth projections from the 5 to 10 year past models. The model that has been developed can be used to assess the impact of future developments or road schemes, and indeed it's already been used in connection with the current levelling up project to assist in projecting traffic volumes to the proposed diversion routes. That's the committee report for recommendations and answering questions, but not detailed ones on the modelling because I won't be able to.
Okay, folks, okay.
Thank you, convener. Yeah, I've read this report and I've scratched my head at it, and I don't know what use it is. I look at 3.7 and I've got this graph here, and it tells me Manor Crescent to Carville Roads, well, 107 seconds waiting. In 2032, we can expect to wait 2 minutes to get onto the road. What I would want to know is why on a Friday afternoon, if I'm going to Europe, I get stopped halfway along Eldon Street, and it takes me 25 minutes to get to the Bucknell Latfield Road. And what can be done about that? And what can we expect to wait in 2032?
Okay.
I think we can expect some of those questions around this to be what's this going to be used for? So as a strategic model that's now built is there, so it can be used for looking at other pieces of work going forward. Now, if they're well aligned to look at specific areas, then that's something that could be done, and this model could follow. some of that work, but specific questions like that would involve a target study and then another period of traffic monitoring and management and counts, etc., to feed into a more detailed piece of work. So it is a tool to be used for the future. It's a tool to be used as much as we can, but in itself, it is limited. It's probably not telling you more than you probably know if you know the replies, the roads and pressure points already. That's where I go.
Okay, that's Eddie. Doris? Okay, cheers, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thanks very much, convener. It's really kind of back you up with all this. I was surprised that in 3.7 Elgin Street wasn't included there, and I'm just wondering why, if this is the kind of the modelling showing the prioritised areas that hasn't shown up, because it really is about, you're right, it's about half an hour at a tea time. I just don't know why. So I guess my question is why has it not shown up in the model?
Eddie?
Yeah, give me that. I mean, I can't obviously answer detailed questions on the modelling. It's there. It's providing the model based on the parameters that the consultants were given. I understand there's obviously going to be a few questions as to why things aren't there, but that's obviously something I can't answer without going back to officers and the consultants to understand the answers.
Can we go back?
Okay. Yeah, okay, Eddie, could you go back and get that information?
Specifically for
Elton Street. Yeah, Elton Street.
The only other one I would add to that, sorry to come in, would be the Lob Street onto the Bars Cottage Outlet. That's the only other kind of one that I would say that I'm aware of that would be missing from that prioritised list.
Could you add them all? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Chris?
Yeah, thanks, Anna. I won't be asking any detailed questions to Frank. But I think looking at the report was behind us, it's in members round, those elements are actually identified, but maybe not as high a level as what's in this report. But I take what members are saying with respect to the level of delays. So that is important, because it does say here that it has been tested with respect to the numbers, which is good. I do, but get on to my substance, I do actually welcome this report. I've been following for a wee while, so it's great to see it. And I think it is an important tool for going forward. And I think that's really very useful. And it's good because it does give us quantifiable data, which is one of the things we probably need. The first thing I would like to note is that though it can be used for future projects, etc., these particular figures don't actually have that, because in 3.6 it states the Inverclyde model is used to test the effect of traffic growth only, i.e. no changes to the existing network or future developments. So therefore it's basically as a network stands at this particular point in time. So looking at the numbers in here, it suggests that we've got a network that is just about managing with the exceptions of what's been represented by the Provost and by Councillor Robertson. With respect to that, so we've got a network that is performing, but it is at capacity in certain, looking at certain lengths and nodes and junctions, and it does seem to be working above the level that would be acceptable for new construction. For instance, if you look at Baker Street and Ingleson Street, this is a new junction. It's working at 99% volume of capacity. And again, if you look at A70, Inverkip Road, Glenford Road and Branston Road, we're looking at 92% capacity, which is above what would suggest for a junction that experiences congestion. The reason I'm picking these two junctions out is because these are two new junctions. We've actually had new traffic lights put in, one by ourselves via Riverside Inverclyde and one by Transport Scotland. Obviously, these are the Transport Scotland one at the bottom of Branston Road. Obviously, is an improvement, but we all, at the time it was put in, we would all recognise there was a number of challenges by members of the public with respect to the delays caused. And my concern is twofold. First of all, we've got a network that's working at capacity with significant pressure points without any significant increase in developments. So looking at those two particular routes, we've got Baker Street, which is a diversion route for the A70A8 through Greenock, and we've also got the A78 at Branston. Now these are directly on the line of the likely traffic growth because of Spangle Valley development and also Inverkip. So my question then is, previously when we look at these developments, Transport Scotland have been saying, well, actually, no, our network's fine. We don't have an issue, no problems. The network will be able to cope with these developments. But we now we've got quantifiable data that says otherwise, says actually the network is actually working at or near capacity, in fact, actually exceeding where you really want it to be. So therefore, can we challenge this back to say that actually, if you're going to have these developments, you're going to need to actually invest elsewhere in Inverclyde to enable these developments to occur? That's my first question, so I'll maybe stop at that point.
Stuart, you can do. The document provides a tool for officers, roads officers, both internal and external, to consider any applications. The two sites that you've mentioned, Councillor Curley, clearly at this moment in time are on the planning permission and transport stage, and as part of the detailed planning permission considerations, this document is available for roads officers to make considerations, and if it's appropriate for planning game to be considered, then that's something that will come out of the planning process.
Yeah. Thank you. That is very useful. It's good to see that, and that is a value of doing this exercise, which was great to see. My other question relates to the Levelling Up project, and Eddie mentioned the fact it's been used as a tool for the conversion routes, etc. My concern, therefore, is looking at, we've had a major development at the A78, which is a new set of traffic lights that's replaced a non-signalised junction. And we're going to talk about having a set of traffic lights to replace the A78 A8 go-round roundabout. And obviously there's a challenge from the public about another set of traffic lights in Inverclyde, and removing the roundabout, which appears to, generally, if you were to say to everybody, oh, if you look at the comments, it's working, so you know, why are we removing it? So my challenge back then is therefore, are we sure that when we put in the new set of traffic lights in junction, that we're going to be getting a system that actually conforms to what we think is a good standard, which is actually a VOC, or volume over capacity, of less than 85%. Because the other two junctions we just put in haven't.
Sure. You can be Councillor, as you know, the design of traffic junctions is an iterative process. Throughout the Levelling Up Fund project, there were a number of considerations in respect of junction configuration, and the design that has been promoted by officers for tender purposes is compliant with both Transport Scotland's requirements and Council's own road services requirements, so there is capacity within that junction. And there were specific interventions in all that were deployed for the design, which improved the capacity within the junction, and it's got capacity to 2035.
Okay, thank you. That's very good to know. And so, if you're getting an update in this report in the future years, I won't be seeing the A78 in junction on there, which is good to know. Thank you.
Lynn, convener. There's kind of it's dependent on driver behaviour, and what we don't have is a crystal ball that says that everybody will be using bikes and everybody will be using cars. So it's based on today's modelling exercise as opposed to, say, giving a cast iron guarantee to members, because they can't sit before the committee and say there is no chance of any problems because it will come back and bite me. But certainly using the best endeavours that are available to us, it shows that there's capacity within the Rough junction.
Thank you for that clarification.
Okay, thanks. So we're glad to know that my question is not going to be technical.
I wasn't technical.
It's going to be technical. Yeah, so I think it's just the echo what was said here. The only kind of useful bit of information here was that I would probably better going over Branchton than going through Cargill Road on the way home the night, because it's somewhat 4% less capacity, although it does say to take you 16 seconds longer. So that's the only thing is useful. So, but yeah, when I read it, I thought, right, okay, where am I getting the bit where there's a solution? And the only bit I could find was that we were just minimising private car travel, and we should continue the promotion of active travel and the use of public transport. So I just want to explore, is there any conversation about public transport? Although we've got really good public transport links, these are mainly town to town, so if I want to get a Guru up to Glasgow, I do pretty well, but to actually get from my community and where I stay down to the station is almost impossible. It's specific times a day. So is there conversations around our public transport? If we're saying we've got an issue, we've got too many cars on the road, we should use public transport, is there any conversations to try and assist with, to increase it and assist with the difficulties we've got with public transport?
Okay, thanks. Eddie?
I suppose there's always conversations to be had, but I think the council's transport strategies goes back a number of years now, and it does need refreshed. So there is an action on us to refresh the transport strategy. There's a lot of other work streams ongoing at the moment which we are participating in. Clyde Metro, transport governance reviews, reviews of ticketing. There's lots of things going on that feed into that overall offering equation, but we are participating in those wider discussions. But I think the whole transport strategy is refreshed and reviewed. Part of that could involve looking at travel probably as well.
Okay, thanks. Sure, anything about that? Nope. Okay, Lynn, after that.
Yeah, it's just that frustration. We've got the problem, but we've got not really any solutions.
Okay. Any other questions? Nope. Okay, can you give recommendations in the report? Thank you. We're going to page item 7, management rules for crematoriums and cemeteries and Berkeley and Emma.
Thank you, Convener. Yes, this is a report in relation to the Council's management rules for cemeteries and crematoriums. The Council currently has management rules in place in relation to cemeteries and crematoriums in Inverclyde, and these were made in July 2015. However, management rules only last for a period of 10 years before they expire, and therefore they're due to expire in July this year. Accordingly, draft management rules have been prepared for 2025 onwards and are annexed to this report. This report seeks the committee's approval in relation to the draft management rules and also seeks the committee's approval to start a consultation period in connection with these rules, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thanks, Emma. Any questions? Graham?
Yeah, thanks very much. I'm happy for these rules that obviously fine as far as I can see. The only engagement I've had previously, obviously with constituents, is obviously criminal behaviour within these places. Now, obviously, our rules can't determine or can't stop criminal behaviour. In particular, I'm thinking about motorcycles being ridden within the sites of cemeteries. I just wonder whether we could add 2 rules that would assist Police Scotland to apprehend potential criminals, or is there rules, do we take into consideration criminal behaviour or support for Police Scotland when we write these rules?
Emma?
A copy of the rules as part of the public consultation could be shared with Police Scotland for their comment. However, yeah, you're right, they don't regulate criminal matters. However, it does give authority to council officers to remove anyone from the premises who contravenes the rules, if that's of assistance.
Yeah, really helpful to hear Police Scotland's opinion on the rules we're setting out. Thanks.
John?
Thank you, Convener. Page 79F has to do with the dogs in the cemeteries. And it does mention there about fouling by the dogs. Is there any dog poo bins at the entrances to the main cemeteries in Inverclyde? And if not, should we be installing them?
I don't know whether that might go in for Neil rather than Emma to do with.
Yeah, I'm not able to answer that. Unfortunately, I could check that with the service, and it's something I could raise with them to provide comment on that.
Okay, thanks, Neil.
Yeah, thanks. Through you, Convener. I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly where the dog litter bins are around that, but again, I can speak to the service around provision of bins at appropriate places to ensure that there's ability to dispose of litter and dog fouling appropriately within the parks.
Thanks, Neil.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, Lynn?
Yeah, I don't want one of the dog poo either, but it does state in here that it says under 9A, it's not appropriate to walk dogs within a cemetery only for the purpose of exercise. So I think you've got that balance between making that clear that it's not a place to exercise your dog, because that's what the rules state, and then obviously you're putting that facility in, which would suggest it's maybe something different. Just pointing out.
Yes, which one of these?
Any other questions? Nope. Okay, can we meet the recommendation from the board?
Which is it?
That me?
Eight.
Yeah, thank you. Moving on to item number 8, property asset management for public report, and Eddie.
Thanks, Mayor. Those two items. The first item is the proposed sale of former St Michael's Primary Schoolhouse. I think we'll be aware that we've sold a number of former schoolhouses over the last few years. These have been vacated by second tenants. Probably sort of matter of former St Michael's Schoolhouse now vacated the report on obviously work on this committee. The second item is the land at Group Station car park. We've already sought to acquire a small section of land that remains in the ownership of Network Rail, as outlined in the report and appendix 2. There's an outstanding agreement to bring a report back on this site, and this acquisition is necessary ahead of considering any further report on options for the site. I just request the approval recommendations of the applicants and questions.
Okay, thanks. Eddie, any questions?
Great.
Nope. Okay, can we do the recommendation report? Thank you. Okay, move to private